Hello, my fellow technologists. Today, 26th of December, day after Christmas. I hope you and yours had a great holiday. I hope it continues through the weekend. Today, we're going to be covering just some of the basics of Kali Linux, formerly known as Backtrack. I use Kali Linux on top of VirtualBox, Oracle VM. You can use it off of VM Workstation, natively on your machine. You can do a boot order. So many different things. You can use vSphere, VMware, so many different platforms, right? You can boot from disk, which is a little old school, but you can do it. All right. So once you've got it up and installed, you're going to need, in this case, a external USB wireless adapter. I prefer Alfa networks. They are preferred by the community. They got good reviews. They seem stable. I've had it for a couple months now. I would recommend it. I will put a link in the description below on which USB external adapter you're going to need, because that's important. All right, so once you get logged in, few recommendations, basics is, first of all, you don't want to put any of your personal information in this VM, okay? Ideally. Name the VM, name the host name of the VM. Try to use something very generic and bland. The reason why: one, I don't promote, condone using Kali Linux or any security tools for malicious reasons. However, if you're experimenting with these tools and you find yourself dabbling in things that could be borderline illegal, suspicious, you don't want any evidence or any trails leading back to you. Okay, so don't name the VM something like Tobler VM or anything like that, right? Leave all your personal information out of there. All right, now to the goods. Once I am logged in, the very first thing I want to do is I want to check and make sure that the wireless adapter that I've spent money on and installed the drivers for, which I covered in another video, is actually showing up. So I'm going to get into the actual terminal. If terminal doesn't pop up, right, you'll get this desktop, most likely, right? You can click on the top here and open up a terminal, and then you get to prompt. Now you want to make sure you're in root mode, okay? Because otherwise making changes, executing any commands are going to become very difficult at that point. So IW config, right? And now I can see, okay, here are my interfaces. Now, because I'm using a VM, the VM's not going to acknowledge any of the other physical interfaces, wireless interfaces on my laptop. I'm using a Surface Pro unless I instruct it to. But in this case, I've purchased an Alfa USB external wireless adapter for this purpose, and that's what the drivers I've installed, and that's what I expect to show up in my IW config, your wireless. It's kind of like IP config, but Linux based. Okay, so you can see here is my USB device. All right, the next step is I want to put this into monitoring mode. So airmon-ng start, and you can see here that it's already in monitoring mode because it's got a mon next to it. So let's go ahead and back up because I want to make sure you guys know what it looks like out of monitoring mode. So I'm going to disconnect and reconnect it. Give it a few minutes to register here. And for me, I watch my USB external adapter. I'll watch it blink. When it stops blinking, I know it's registered with the laptop. Okay. So IW config. Okay, you can see here now it's what I expect to see, and that's WLAN 0. It's not in monitoring mode. Okay. Now I'm going to put it in monitoring mode. So the airmon-ng. Now it will recommend, if you're having problems, or even if you're not, to kill these following processes that come up, right? The network management and WPA supplicant. I can tell you in my own personal experience, by killing those, you actually create more problems. So unless you are having problems, I would leave well enough alone. Okay. All right, so now you are officially in monitoring mode using your external USB Alfa network adapter, okay? Now, I'd like to see all of the wireless networks around me, right? So to start my adventure and journey at monitoring, poking, probing, analyzing, auditing these networks, I need to basically sweep the area around me in all channels and see what Wi-Fi networks pop up. Okay, so I'm going to execute an arrow dump ng and then the name of the interface in monitoring mode, which in this case is WLAN 0 mon. Once I've executed that, what you will start to see a couple things right away, and I will stop that. Okay, the very first thing that you're going to see here is you're going to see the top left here, you're going to see CH and a few spaces and a number. That is the channel that your device is scanning, okay? And you'll see that number constantly change over and over and over, okay? Because it's scanning all the available channels. Once it scans that, those devices out there in the field are going to respond back with a couple of things. Power levels, BSSID, which is your base SSID, what encryption they're using, what cipher they're using, are they using a pre-shared key, and also, most importantly, the SSID. Okay, so the name, right, which is probably what you're very interested in. Unless you've got neighbors or yourself that are hiding the name of the SSID, which is common, you want to know the name because then you can understand who this belongs to, right? A lot of times people will name it after their dog, their cat, something significant to them themselves, or they just keep it basic, right? Like this example here, this person used and kept their own name of the device out of the box. They never changed it, which is perfectly fine. Right, the power settings is important, right? The higher the number, this is in dB, the higher the number, the farther away it likely is, right? The lower the number means that it's pretty close and it's got a pretty strong signal, right? So your opportunities there to, again, for experimental purposes, to probe, analyze, detect, audit is much greater than something that is 71, neg 71 dB, right? That means it's pretty far. The neg ones we'll cover in a different video, but you will see those a lot, right? But there really is not much you can do with those. But again, I won't cover it in this one, okay? So very important. Once I've done that, I can start watching this and just let it go and basically watch this scan the network and go through each channel over and over and over again, okay? And that's what's in that's what's going to give you the information you need to determine your next steps, okay? So summary here, setting it up. Obviously you want to be very anonymous with all the information you put into your VM. You want to invest in a reliable and well-known external USB adapter. I would recommend Alfa. They work great and the community loves them. You're looking for a particular BSSID, so the base SSID, which is the burnt-in MAC address of that device. You want to stay away from power levels 70 plus, neg 70 plus. And then obviously the SSID itself, ESSID, is going to be the name, and that's going to be of interest to you because that's going to tell you whose network that is, who does it belong to, and so forth and so on, okay? Hope this was informative for you. Questions, comments, likes, notifications, subscribe, all that good stuff that everybody says. And I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.